following show is being recorded live at AS220 on Empire Street in Providence, Rhode Island. Our first guest is Mr. Bert Crenca, who will be followed by The Wrong Hero, Swag, and the Neo-90s Dance Band.
just a little bit of light on them?
The audience?
Yeah, just a little. Ooh, not too much. Ooh. How is everybody this evening?
Good.
Who said that? You doing good? Have a good day?
So far.
Yeah? So how are you entertaining yourself this evening? What are you drinking?
Bad sale?
Bass ale? Sure, you're doing all right. I can only afford Budweiser. It's good when it's Bass. I just came from a Thai restaurant and I got my fortune. I'm not bullshitting. I had no idea how I was going to introduce the evening tonight until I got this. My fortune says, everything will now come your way. What the fuck am I going to do with everything? Where do you put everything? This is a good thing? I don't need everything. I'm trying to get rid of shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you first read it, though, everything will now come your way. Right away, your mind says, oh, great, that's good. But think about that. You want everything? Look at this outfit. It would be yours. You want this? It's very expensive to keep this clean. That's why you say that. Not because you don't think it's beautiful. It's right.
Don't cross the street, bro.
What's that? Think I'll get picked up?
No, everything will come your way.
Everything will come my way. Oh, that's crash. Tom got hit by a car last week, too. It was a get hit by a car joke. So, anyway. Well, I'm the guy to give you Portuguese, and I think we have a pretty quality evening today. Where is everyone? Not here, just a few of us. But I'm just forewarning you. See, this is it. I'm just warning you, I'm going to be selling it. All right? I'm just warning you. It's going to come in different colors. It is going to come in different colors. I'm warning you. It's coming. It is coming. And I got it. You need it. And I'm going to be selling it. And don't forget it. That's what happens when you leave the door open to the padded cell. See what happens over there? All the fucking noise comes out. Shut up! We have a good evening. I am the guy to give you Portuguese. And don't forget it, because it's going to be coming your way very soon. Is anybody here from out of town? I had a couple of guests I just had dinner with from out of town. They drove all the way from North Bennington, Vermont, to come down and hang out and get the vibes, and they want to maybe do some artwork here, and then they drove back. It takes 3 hours to get here, but they wanted to plug in here at AS220. I'm not kidding, seriously. A lot of people coming down and checking it out, what we're doing here. It's really great. If you don't know, it's huge. It's 3 buildings, it's a theater, it's a dance studio, it's 12 live spaces, 11 live studios, gallery, all kinds of good shit. That's what's happening in the building. But anyway, tonight we got The Wrong Hero. Is there anybody here that's ever seen The Wrong Hero before?
Yeah.
They usually come from miles away. It must be the snow. Must be the snow, Francis. I don't know what it is. Must be the snow. Anyway, what? What's perking you up now? You've been depressed for 3 weeks, and now what are you, coming out tonight while I'm fucking doing my thing? You gonna start feeling good? Big sure. Anyway, we got swag. That's with Michael and John and Manny. Manny and John have been playing here since the very beginning of AS220 8.5 years ago, and they still haven't got a break. It's unbelievable, but we'll see what they do tonight. And then we got the Neo-90s dance band, who fucking lost the rock hunt last night. Yeah! In fact, I was so pissed they lost, you know, I went out looting. I'm serious. You gotta do something, feel good, you know, when you're having a bad day. That's what I say, looting. burn. Motherfucker, take it down. I know it. That's a problem. I was wasting a lot of fucking time. I broke into Woolworths, man. It was a trip. I'm serious. I went right down the way they used to sell the parakeets, and they weren't there no more. Anyway. Yeah, that's all I'm supposed to do, right?
Well,
So I can say tomorrow's the New England Chow-Down. You all should come down for brunch at 11 o'clock. We have an awesome brunch here at 11 o'clock on Sundays. And then we have the New England Chow-Down. It's a live radio show at 1:30. It doesn't cost you anything for the Chow-Down. It costs you something for the brunch. But it's not a lot. It's really good. So you all should come down on Sunday. It's a great place
Coffee house, too.
to player. Huh?
coffee house too.
There's a coffee house?
4 o'clock.
There's a women's coffee house at 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
There's a women's coffee house at 4 o'clock?
That when they live in Wade.
A women's coffee house when they lift the weights. Man, you got that car fuck you up. That car must have hit you right in the head. That fucking kid was coming down the street, Tom went, "I'll fix you, motherfucker!" The car fell apart. No. Poor Al. There was another guy with us that got hit, Alec K. Redfern, who plays accordion. He's in bed with 2 broken legs, but he's alive, and that's a good thing. So, because we ain't got enough accordion playing out here yet. So anyway, you can play accordion on, like, you don't need to stand up, do you?
Yeah, he's been playing it now.
Is he? Laying down in bed, playing accordion? Anyway, so next thing's going to be, we're going to take a few more minutes, wait for a few more people to come in, and then you're going to experience The Wrong Hero, which is going to be awesome, I swear to God. So stick around, have a good time, play some music, Joey. I'm the guy to Gita Porty. Thank you. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the absolute toast of Cambridge, whatever the fuck that means. The Wrong Hero.
I'm so in touch with myself. I've forgotten how to feel. I don't have a very long time to dwell amongst you, so I will give you my short and affectless opening.
Hi, how are you? Good to see. What about that weather?
Thank you. I would also like you to ponder this question. When are comedians going to stand up against the awesome power that advertising exerts to shape our desires? I'll answer that question right after these few words from my sponsors. The penis. Strong enough for a man, but made for a woman. But men like it too. And placebo light. Do you suffer from placebo bloat? Well, try placebo light. Only half the inert ingredients in fillers of regular placebos. Costs twice as much and does less than nothing. Placebo light. And right across the street from Purity Supreme, come and visit Filthy Midget Mart. Filthy Midget Mart is found in a cramped basement right across the street from Purity Supreme. So next time you go out shopping for all those non-essential items, be sure to make a stop at Filthy Midget Mart. Go to our produce section. Careful with those pineapples, though. Some of them are real live hand grenades at Filthy Midget Mart. We don't sell milk and bread and eggs and other boring bourgeois impedimenta. But we do have the largest collection of chewing tobacco, snuff, and prosthetic jaws on the East Coast at Filthy Midget Mart. When you go to the checkout line, we don't ask you if you want paper or plastic. We just throw the shit at your head. That's why we have the fastest checkout lines in the business. Only at right across the street from Purity Supreme. I'd like to do some of my award-winning impressions for you now that I have gotten your attention. The first one is the Sphinx. Cheese. A gravestone. And now, in spite of my 210-pound bulk, I would like to show you my incredible creativity by doing my Doris Day impression. Ooh. And continuing in this vein, my impression of a bell backwards. Very well done. Although I am ageless, and in fact as old as the wings of death, when I was a child, I was living with my cousins in Castle Shannon, Pennsylvania. Oh, that wasn't Irish, not much, but I do recall my cousin being enamored of the Gomer Pyle show. In fact, every time the stirring Marine Corps anthem would commence to begin the show, he would rise almost uncontrollably from his sofa. He'd like, da-da, 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 down, boy, da-da, 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 sing how, sing how, sing how! You know, he later became a mailman. He liked the uniform. Anyway, this is my impression of Jim Neighbors advertising preparation H. You call me Sergeant?
No, it's these damn hemorrhoids! They're killing me!
Well, why don't you try preparation H?
Preparation H! I'll give it a shot!
2 days later.
Oh, for once you're right! It really worked!
Surprise, surprise, surprise. And what about his cousin? Goober. I always wondered what his pickup line would be in a bar. I got filth under my fingernails from last week. Will you marry me? I have often wondered about that. I try to do a clean show. I try not to use distasteful words or discuss distasteful and controversial subjects unless they suit my arbitrary and cruel whims. I don't even like to use the word shit. I prefer to refer to it in a more dignified way as brown monuments to a healthy appetite. Because I like to look on the bright side of things, you know? I figure if you go blind from staring at the sun, at least you'll get a hell of a suntan, you know? So, no sense in dwelling in negativity. But, I was pondering the differences between men and women. Now, don't let anybody tell you that there aren't gigantic differences, an enormous emotional as well as physical gulf between men and women. And this is perhaps epitomized in when you compare a man's refrigerator with a woman's refrigerator. Now, you look into a woman's refrigerator, and what do you find? Lipsticks, powder puffs, little kittens, and fuzzy little teddy bears, and perhaps a sealed pack of Marlboro Lights. But if you look into a man's refrigerator, what do you find?
A monkey's paw clutching a jewel! Dynamite! Nuclear waste! Textbooks on Armageddon! Cigars, condoms!
That's what you find when you look into a man's refrigerator. This portion of The Wrong Hero is brought to you by Pope Light. Pope Light, slimmer than the fat pontiffs, Catholics worship. Why do poor people go to church? Isn't 5 days on your knees enough? I've often wondered about this. The Wrong Hero's shocking anti-clericism has clearly silenced everybody in the room, for which I am profoundly grateful. Yes, you know, I often think, though, maybe I shouldn't get on this God stuff too much, because what's going to happen to me when I die? When I die, I want my dog to bury me. That's so he won't think I deserted him. I also want him to pull the casket, but he's a Chihuahua. So I want to get one of his St. Bernard friends to do it. Maybe he can stand on the St. Bernard's back and play the accordion. You know, something sweet like "There's no place like home." You know, I would like that very much, in fact. You know, I hate to say this, but my dog is my best friend. All of my best friends piss in the corner. All of my best friends kill chickens. All of my best friends roll around in their own filth. All of my best friends beg for treats with their genitalia exposed. Yes, my dog is my best friend. Whenever I get stopped for speeding by a traffic officer, which is quite often since I commute from Cambridge to Providence quite frequently, I like to play a little game with the policeman called Nice Victim, Mean Victim. And it goes something like this. Top of the morning to you, officer. Sure, and what's a police captain like you are doing, a pounding the beat? Can I see your license and registration? Oh, why were you speeding? I'm sorry, I was pretending the accelerator was a policeman's head because I was sucking on a cube of LSD and I wanted to get home before I melted. Officer, coffee and donuts, sitting and picking your ass at 4 in the morning, sir! And he says, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time. See it doesn't happen again. Yeah, this drug thing, it's wild. Drugs are sort of like politics for people who are too lazy to vote, you know? And it's really, it's got me, because, you know, I like to keep up with current events, but just think, you know, sometimes when you come up with material, people say, hey man, you must have been on drugs when you thought of that. You ever hear people going, hey man, get a hit of that air. Hold it in your lungs, don't let it out. Okay, now let it out real slow. And you ever hear people say, fucking A, man. Fucking H2O. This is the best damn water. What's the matter? You too good to drink water with your old buddies? Huh? So, I often wonder, you know, and people walk up to Einstein, hey man, you must have been stoned when you thought of the theory of relativity. But I've often wondered how history would have been different if, say, someone like Johnny Most had used drugs. You know, Johnny Most, the lately deceased announcer for the Boston Celtics, or is it Celtics? I guess in Ireland it's Celtics, but everywhere else it's Celtics. Well, I've often thought of how Johnny Most would behave if he were under the stimulus of these illegal substances. And I believe it would go something like this.
This is terrible! Here comes Hamilton! Hamilton! Put me back together again! Oh, it gets worse and Caesar. Here comes Nero. Nero fiddles down the court. Hey, get a little cat and fiddle. Ow, this is terrible. Here comes Hamilton. Ow, this is terrible. Caesar's having Caesars. The Seminoles and Rome are burning. Caesar's having Caesars. Caesar's having Caesars. This is terrible. Where's my drink? Well, yes. That was good. You might wonder what I do for a living when I'm not doing this. Well, it's funny you should wonder that. I'm only presuming that these are your thought processes. I'm sorry if the presumption is incorrect. But, well, I've been writing cover letters lately. I wrote a cover letter on a nest of fire ants, but the personnel office had sprinkled boric acid around the sills, and I never got to them. Then I wrote my resume on a snow cone, but the personnel office didn't have air conditioning, and so it melted. So finally I did it right. I got the cream-colored paper, the IBM Selectric, the whole shooting match, you know, resumes that knock them dead, all that stuff. And I wrote a resume which I was sure would really impress them, and it was, Dear Earth Filth, suck my drug-laced nipples, because this is my resume! Do you hear me? Mine! Get your filthy hands off of it, you greedy little... Sincerely, the wrong hero. And I got the interview. And the interviewer was very nice, but he threw some hardballs at me, like, name 2 of your former boss's biggest weak points. Well, that was easy. The throat and the kneecaps. And then they said, have you ever been arrested? And I said, yes. By my great talent. And then they wanted to know what my weakness was. And I said, drugs. Got any? And finally, he said, do you have any hobbies? And I said, yes. Getting interrogated by total strangers. You know, it's a hard life. All of my friends are having children now. This doesn't have anything to do with the Hollywood propaganda machine, which says that you must be fruitful and propagate in order to bear young so that they may be sucked into the maw of the military-industrial complex. But I don't want to get into that because I'm not a political person. But all of my friends are bragging about having children. Now, what do I have to brag about? I left some ejaculate into a handkerchief last night, and it smelled like a petunia. There's nothing wrong with masturbation. And there's nothing wrong with Nintendo either. In fact, masturbation is the poor man's Nintendo. Thinking of opening up a theme park right across from Disney World. It would be called the Manic Kingdom. And I would keep the employees well stocked with all sorts of pharmaceuticals, and so there'd be something along the lines of, thanks for the steroids, Uncle Walt! And like, thanks for the tranquilizers, Uncle Walt! And of course, thanks for the hat! Be our guest, let our magic do the rest! Because I'm afraid of the Disney people. Do you know what Mickey Mouse stands for? MIC, Military Industrial Complex. KEY,
Keynesian economic yoke. M-O-U-S-E, more of United States engulfment. There's a lot of things, institutions and such like that I don't trust, like television. Television is tobacco for the eyes, which is why they don't have cigarette ads on television anymore, because it's redundant. Really. But I noticed they have all these like really obnoxious ads for this stupid goddamn bubble gum or chewing gum. Like, I can't smoke at work. You know, it's like kill smokers. Deviants. You know, yellow star. You know, in the shape of tartar. And so I thought of something they could advertise. It would be like to smoke crack at work, but the boss won't let you. Chew junky gum. Because with every working of your jaws, your employers will know that you are a junkie. Junkie, junkie. My dad, I don't want to rag on him, but he's not too much older than me. He's only in his like mid-50s, and he sort of tries to pretend to like the stuff that I like, to show that he hasn't lost touch with what these kids today are thinking. So one day he comes downstairs and says, "Hey, what's that music you're playing? I kind of like it." And I told him, "It's the dishwasher, Dad." Okay? It's a funny thing about music. You can, well, before I tell you what the funny thing is, broken glass, excellent. I'll do my Iggy Pop. Does anybody have a song? The most boring, cretinous song that you can possibly think of?
Magnet and Steel.
I don't know that one. Next. Okay. You can jazz up any stupid cretinous song by throwing in the word "hey." Like, you are the magnet, hey, and I am the steel. Oh, you, or when the red robin goes bob, 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 along, hey, along. Any song at all. I'll take that challenge. Another song.
Dirty Water.
Okay, well, the guys who wrote that song weren't even from Boston. The standouts were from California. How dare they impugn the quality of Boston's secondary sewage treatment system? All right, well, let's do it the way it was originally intended to be done, as a blues. Well, I love that dirty water, love that dirty water. There's another thing I've noticed. I had to do a show this afternoon with the thrash band playing downstairs. Any warning can be a thrash song. For example, Sergeant General's warning, smoking may reduce hazards to your health. Or, cross at the green, hey, not in between. So I don't know about that. Here's a chair. Now, this gives me the opportunity to do my Elvis impression. I do it differently from most other people. I do Elvis's off-stage act. There's a big one in here somewhere. Pissed my pants. Mama, you don't have to take them diet pills. I love you just the way you are. Colonel Parker swindled me out of half of my money. Daddy, if I want to throw diamond rings into the front row of the audience, that's my business. The search goes on for the fourth Beatle. I think it should be me. I was in a band called the Street Beatles. Let's see, we had a single. I want to hold your purse. Backed with a taste of vomit.
tasted much sweeter than bile. Do-do-do. So, I think that should be me. You know, the thing about The Who, right? Roger Daltrey sings the songs of Peter Townsend. Wasn't that The Who? I mean, but you know what gets me is that Peter Townsend wrote that song, Let My Love Open the Door, and I'm wondering, gee, what if he had thought of that at Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati, when all those people got crushed? That would have been great. We could have sucked them up into his nose and they could have hid there for safety. And the Rolling Stones, you know, the Rolling Stones, they drowned Brian Jones. The only one in the lot that had any talent, and they drowned him in a swimming pool. And yet, if he had hung on to Mick Jagger's lips, he could have floated to safety. So it's a pity. And Keith Richards got confused. He had his blood replaced with heroin. I can see this isn't a rock and roll crowd. That's good, you know? Because to bring a rock and roll crowd to your knees, all you gotta do is to say the word shit. And, oh, did you hear that? Oh, yes. Well, I'm gonna open up a rock and roll ice cream store. It's gonna be called, it's something called the Rock and Roll Ice Cream Store. And I'm gonna have, the premier flavor is gonna be petroleum jelly and rust. And I'm gonna call it Neil Young. When I was in junior high school, we used to get to play music during lunch. And the school was half Greasers and half Soul Brothers. And the Greasers all wanted to hear Blue Velvet by Bobby Vinton. And the Soul Brothers all wanted to hear War by Edwin Starr. And so every lunchtime would sound something like, 1, 2, she wore blue velvet. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. So, it was strange. Here's another thing I want to know. What is the purpose of the weekend? Well, some days are better than others. Some dazes are better than others, too. I'm standing on a daze. Does that mean I'm dazed and confused? Well, I will be. But before I indulge myself, I thought I should mention that, why the weekend? Why do we have to have a set time to act spontaneous? I just want to know. Well, before I hop back on my spaceship, I want to mention that politics are sports for people who are too fat to run. I also want to mention that I know for a fact that our President, Bill Clinton, has been an overachiever from a very early age. In fact, he won, he entered he was in the 4-H club and he entered their competition at the state fair. He had the prize-winning hog at the state fair, but they made him put it back in his pants. So he was disappointed. You know, I was sad because I had no shoes. And then I met a man who had no feet. So I let him walk all over me. And that's called affirmative action. But wait! I was still sad because I had no shoes. So I met another man who had no feet. So I kicked him. Good. And said, excuse me. And that was called a return to family values. I'm the wrong hero, and my motto, as if you haven't guessed it by now, is stupefaction guaranteed, or your money back, if I can remember where I put it. I've had this happen to me. A lot of times when you see a beautiful woman walking down the street, if you're a guy, you'll go something like, hey, whoa, look at that, get a look at that. Well,
people see me walking down the street, you know what they say? Security! Security! Come to Sector 3 at once! Intruder! I'm actually an Italian guy. And I didn't have very much luck with women. Maybe it was because of the pickup lines that I was taught from an early age. You know, stuff like, hey baby, what's your fucking sign, huh? Or, I believe that you and me were together in a past life, and you owed me money. So that just didn't work. You know, I wonder, what if Jim Morrison had been a real Irishman instead of like an Irish American? He'd probably still be alive today. In fact, he'd probably be like 91 years old because he'd be singing all that traditional Irish music like, oh, the time to hesitate is through, no time to wallow in the mire, and if you're not careful, I will set your hair on fire. Oh, oh. So, would that it were so. Hi, I'm the wrong hero. An apple cleans your teeth. So does a hand grenade. A carrot improves your vision at night. So does a hand grenade. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what kind of fruit keeps the policeman away? That's what I really need to know. Well, before I go, I do have to mention our sponsors. Malcolm X-ray Specs enables you to see through white hypocrisy. Oh, and also, I want to mention two funny things I've noticed in my travels. One of them is, you ever notice how all Midwesterners sound as though they've taken elocution lessons from Huckleberry Hound? You know, it's like, oh my God, you want to get some gasoline for your car? Well, I'll tell you what, you tell me where that gas cap is, and I'll just unscrew it for you there. There you go, there you go. You want some air in your tires? Well, it's going to be 25 cents per ding, partner. You know, all of a sudden they get mean on you. And when Southerners are angry at you, they all talk as though they're taking a crap. You know, it's like, what are you doing around here anyway, boy? I'm telling you, you better not come around here anymore. And those charismatic Southern preachers, boy, I'll tell you, they're real orators, you know? So like, do you know what the most important book in the Bible is? I don't either. But I will say something to you. You have got to invite Jesus into your life. You must invite Jesus into your life. Well, I tried that. I invited Jesus into my home. And he was a pest. He gave away my coin collection. He left his face on all the towels. He walked up the shower nozzle. He turned all the bath water into Manischewitz. And it took a week to get the stains out. Worst of all, he came in naked and bleeding and said he had lost his robe in a dice game. You know, up in Boston, the Irish don't want gays to march in the St. Patrick's Day parade. They don't want gays to march in the St. Patrick's Day parade, and yet, who is the one person you think of when you think of the Irish? I'll tell you who it is. Lucky Charms.
They don't want gays to march in the St. Patrick's Day parade, and yet their mascot is Lucky Charms, this hideous little dwarf wearing this curtain. Sure, it's me, Lucky Charms. Whoa, I'm gonna fly around here. Oh, come fly with me.
Well, what if instead of being Irish, Lucky Charms were Scottish? Then he'd be
Angry Charms. For 2,000 years I slept. For 2,000 more I caused mischief. And for 2,000 more I dispensed me Lucky Charms. But now I'm Angry Charms. I will turn your sun into a marshmallow sun, and you will all freeze. I will turn your moon into a marshmallow moon, and the tides will engulf you.
No more yellow stars, orange moons, and green clovers.
Pink triangles, and you will work as slaves in my nuclear industrial power plant until you drop over, and all I will feed you
is Lucky Charms. So think about it. You've been wonderful.
That's the wrong hero. You're supposed to applaud. Stop serving opium in our coffee, I think. We're going to have a little music, then a few minutes it'll be swag, and then the 90s dance band, so we're moving right along. A little music, Joseph.